y'all. Thank y'all for tuning into our podcast, Keeping It Real While we heal. I'm here with.
Hi, I'm Naima. I'm the secretary, and I've been with Gwen's Girls for almost 2 years now.
Hi, I'm Malaysia. I'm an emerging leader at Gwen's Girls, and I'm the vice president here, and I've also been here for about 2 years.
Hi, I'm Janasia. I'm also an emergent leader, and I've been with Gwen's Girls for about 2 years as well.
Hi, my name's Mara. I'm a council member. I've been an emerging leader for about a year, and I've been an emerging leader for a few months, and I've been at Gwen's Girls for a year.
Hi, my name is Alexis. I am the treasurer of Gwen's Girls, and I have been here for about 3 to 4 years now.
Okay, so today for our podcast, we're going to be talking about C-Sec, also like known as sex trafficking, and you're all probably wondering, like, what is that? Like, what is that? And that is when you exploit someone by taking advantage of their innocence. It usually can happen to children, but it's not just children, and the average age for that where it starts is 11 and 12, which is like 6th grade.
So the trafficker is a person who's actually transporting people across states, cities, or whatever it is, and committing illegal acts and using people for sexual exploitation. So to kick off the conversation, let's talk about some of the misconceptions that people think of when we think of sex trafficking. The most common one that I see is people always think of a man, and it's not always a man. It can be someone your age, older woman, older man, elderly person. Anyone could be a sex trafficker, so it's good to be aware of these things.
People that can be trafficked aren't just younger people. So I read in this article somewhere where it said that women that were as old as 60, 70 were getting trafficked. And when you think about that, that is like women who are our grandma's age, getting trafficked, which is asinine. It really is. Can we have a moment of silence for that?
In Pittsburgh, we are also in the top 10 cities that are more likely for people to be trafficked, and Pennsylvania is also in the top 10 states. Because Pittsburgh and Pennsylvania has so many highways and a lot of isolated gas stations, it's really easy for somebody to get picked up and to be trafficked and not have no trace of where that person has been or have gone without anything.
So me and Mara and Alexis, we went to this event, and it was like kind of just teaching us a little bit more about sex trafficking. And the man, he did like a demonstration with someone in the audience, and he like walked up to her, and she had the office, the show The Office, the sticker was on her computer or whatnot, and he was like, "Oh, so you watch The Office?" And she was like, "Yeah." He was like, "So what's your favorite episode?" And she was like, "Oh, blah, blah, blah is my favorite episode." And then he was like, "Oh, maybe we should watch it sometime. Like, what's your number? What's your name?" And it's honestly just like as simple as that to get somebody's information. So it just can start at a simple conversation about what show you like, and next thing you know, you're beginning to be sex trafficked. So it's just be careful about the people you talk to and the conversations you have, and just be aware. But Alexis also wanted to like do a demonstration, so she's going to show another example of what it could look like.
Hello, Malaysia.
Hi.
I like your earrings on your ears.
Thank you.
Do you like the color red?
It's a good color.
Oh, well, there is this really good red-themed gym down the street. I feel like that we should go.
Maybe.
Okay, I see you like cherries, too. They do have cherry drinks also, like a cherry smoothie.
I'm not a big fan of cherries, though.
Okay. I like your cherries on your ears. They look really pretty.
I appreciate that.
Oh. Well, maybe we should hang out sometime. Can I get your number?
I don't have a phone.
Oh, well, I could walk you down the street to your place.
I don't live here.
Oh, really? Well, I seen you coming out of the building over there.
I do house cleaning.
Okay. That's neat. Would you want to clean my house one day?
I'll get back to you on that.
All right. Thank you. And those guys are some things that you should look for.
I would like to say before that, it's very good to not show emotion or to give too much information when somebody, especially that you don't know, like a stranger is approaching you. It's very okay and acceptable to keep things short, to just like one and done, one answer, yes, no, sure, okay. Like, just, you don't got to give them too much information if you don't want to. And if you have to lie, so be it.
One of the main teen tips that I would give out is to watch what you're doing on social media. I'm pretty sure all of us has at least one time been texted by someone older, or somebody trying to scam you, or like
Right.
saying they're gonna give you money to do something so simple.
Yes,
But a
like
lot
those
of things
Cash
are
App
too good to be
scams.
true. Yes, Cash App
Mhm.
scams.
They'd be like, "You have Cash App?"
And then you can look up people's numbers on Cash App.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like you
Starts
could
with your
literally,
number,
I could
then
tap
they get
in
your
one of you guys'
name.
phone numbers right now and just see where you are. That's ridiculous.
Another thing would be not posting your location or every time you go somewhere. Like, for example, Snapchat has this feature where you can basically share your location with all your friends on Snapchat. And that's very unsafe because someone can literally zoom in and see, like, your house, your street, where you at, if you move or not. Like, it's just too much. So, watch like, what you can put out on social media and, like, go in the settings and control, like, location and stuff like that.
Yeah, and honestly, like, just for parents as well, like, some tips and some things that parents should do. If you have, like, a younger kid, maybe, like, I don't know, 12, 11, even younger, you should maybe, like, there's parental controls and there's settings on different social medias and just on, like, the phone itself, that can prevent your kid from doing certain things or having screen time or not being able to access certain things, just to be able to keep your kid safe from the different things out there. And not even just doing that on their phone without telling them, like, have a conversation with your kid and let them know about the different dangers and the different things that could happen to them, because it's important that they know so that they can also be precautious for themselves. And yeah.
And as teens, we also need to be very wary of who we are texting and who's texting us. Because although we feel like we know the person we're talking to, this is social media. You don't know who you're talking to unless you have met this person in person and they have given you their social media. Other than that, we should not be contacting these people. There are adults texting us and we don't even have no clue. We wouldn't even know. They could literally catfish us. Like, I know we watch shows like Catfish, and it'd be grown people all the time, and they never get down to how there's really older people catfishing young girls. We'd be 16, 17, 15 years old talking to people that are 40, 50, 39, and we have no idea that we're talking to them. And there's resources that we could go to. There's resources that you could go to if you are in that situation and if you need an escape. Like Gwen's Girls, that's where we are. You could come here. They're really welcoming here. I enjoy it. I rate it a 10 out of 10. The staff we have, they're like mothers. It's like having 18,000 mothers all at once, and they all act like your mom. It's
And
annoying
sisters.
sometimes. And
And
we have
sisters,
all
yep.
these sisters. I would enjoy to be with them.
Mm.
No, I wouldn't. There's also Eden's Farm. Eden's Farm, it's not for minors. It's for older people, but it's also a great place to go to if you feel like you need somebody to talk to, or you need an escape, or you need a program like that from being sex trafficked. I would definitely go there. Rated a 10 out of 10. And then you can also go to PAR. Now, Janasia is going to tell you more about PAR because she knows enough.
Okay, so I know somebody who works at PAR, and pretty much their job is like there's different people. It's not like really an age, like it could be teenagers. I don't know the youngest that they go to, but it's teenagers and adults. And PAR stands for Pittsburgh Action Against Rape, and pretty much it's like not always rape cases, but just different things that happen sexually to people, whether they're trying to escape from an abusive situation, or they did get trafficked, or they just got plain out raped. There's caseworkers, and they help you get back on your feet, and they help you just establish like being able to just live a quote unquote normal life again. And they also have therapy and stuff there, so you have someone to talk to. So I think that's a really good resource if you need it.
I also want to touch base on how you can get trafficked. So basically, you get groomed. It's not just someone, grabbing you off the side of the street and putting you in a van. It's not that simple. Usually it's you build trust with this person, so y'all are talking and they do nice things for you and they buy you stuff, they spoil you. You think it's all just for love and they love you and they're just being a nice person, but at some point they're going to end up wanting something from you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how you get into a life of sex trafficking. So it's not just as simple as getting kidnapped on the side of the street.
That's why it's also important for adults and parents in general to make sure that they're showing their children the right amount of love and the right love. Because if you don't show that to them, they will go find it in other places. Even if it's not intentional, there will be somebody that will attempt to give it to them. Even if they don't know that that's what they're getting, they're gonna feel like they're getting that because they never felt that from anybody else in their life. So it's important to know when you have kids that you need to be showing them the right attention and the right amount of love without being a helicopter parent. Like, it's okay to be really wary and it's okay to worry for your kids, but make sure you're not doing it in a way that's also hurting them, because all they're going to do is be way sneakier than what you ever thought they could be.
And also how we were talking about like online safety, there's a specific tactic that I've noticed that traffickers use in order to, reel young people in. So there's this thing that they do. It's called, like, they use online ads where basically they'll say like they have a boutique or something and they want to pay you X amount of money in order to have you model for them, for an example. And you can always tell if it's a scam by their lack of, like, how they explain the credentials or the offers, employment, or the amount of money that they're trying to offer you. Like, if it's like an absurd amount of money, but they're DMing you on Instagram.
Right.
Right. Usually
like,
you would use email.
Yeah, like, how trustworthy can it really be? So it's always good to, be wary of that. And there's nothing wrong with being wary of people who are just randomly messaging you,
I also would like to touch base on the fact that young girls shouldn't have to prove that there's coercion when they say they're being sex trafficked. I just feel there shouldn't be a reason why we aren't believing young girls or even young boys too, because we don't talk about young boys enough also. You have to listen to the young people when they speak. And if you're not listening and paying attention, what does that stand for when they get older? We're not paying attention to our youth enough. So what are we going to do in the future? These are supposed to be our future doctors, our future nurses, our future lawyers. And all these people, we are the future. How are we going to not pay attention to the future and worry about things that aren't relevant right now?
Would we like to speak on experiences and if we've seen, heard, or have just experienced anything like this?
Well, I haven't personally, but I know from a young lady that I know, she was essentially getting gas, and she has a gas station down the street from her house, so it's real convenient for her. And as she was walking out for paying for the gas, essentially this man approached her, and he was basically trying to press her for information, like, what's your name, your age, where you work, do you live alone, do you have a boyfriend, just like, trying to get all this information, all these stats on her from a complete stranger. And she had this really weary feeling that, like, it was like not trustworthy. And essentially, like how I just did with the reenactment that we did, she lied about everything. She was like, oh, my name is this, oh, I'm this old. And she also said that, like, she didn't even live, like, because she lived down the street, but she said that she lived, like, she lived in Florida, and, like, she was visiting somebody, like, just completely lied. But in that situation, I can't emphasize this enough. If you feel uncomfortable and you don't want to express certain information, like personal information about yourself, like your name or anything, don't do it. You can lie. You don't
it's
have
okay to lie in that situation.
I think lying is the best policy in anything.
Yes.
If I could just add that in there, I think it's really good to lie. But
Especially
also,
to a random.
yes, random people also. You do not have to tell the truth to everybody. I promise you. Nothing's going to happen to you if you don't tell the truth.
You don't owe nobody loyalty but yourself.
Especially if it's to protect your safety. Yeah, that's the most important thing at the end of the day.
I know I have a friend. My friend's like 14, 15. And she was leaving work, and there was this man that kept trying to get her attention, and he was yelling at her from his car. And he just keep yelling, trying to get her attention, and she's trying to ignore it. She calls my phone, tries to talk to me to try to ignore it, and it's just, he keeps going at it. Even though she's not acknowledging him, he keeps yelling at her to try to get her attention, and he finally notices that she sees him, and he yells louder, and he's just yelling. His head's out the car, his whole body's dang near out the car, keep trying to yell at her, trying to get her attention. And it's not only embarrassing for him, but it's embarrassing for her. Like, there's really people out here on the streets that do stuff like that, and nobody says anything, especially when a young girl's by herself. I just feel like there should be somebody to say something. Like, if you see something like that happening, say something as an adult, not as a kid. Y'all got to get into that. Although it's good to say something as a kid too, but
report it to the right people.
Yeah, you have to make sure you're okay too before you try to make sure somebody else is okay. Because if it's not her, it might be you.
That's why it's good to look around your surroundings, see where you're at. Whenever I'm in a building, I look to see where all the exits are before I step in there, because you never know what could happen. You're just walking into a room with people. You don't know what those people's intentions are. You don't know what people's thoughts are at the end of the day. So it's just good to look around where you're at,
especially in areas that you're unfamiliar with,
or like, people you don't know.
You can never be too safe. Always clock the exits, read the room. Just really quick, I want to bring up something else about like online safety, because I actually had a lot of tips about this, but I had like my 3 main ones that I thought were way more important than any of the other ones that I wrote, which was essentially like, so us young people, we glorify like, like influencers on TikTok and how they have a whole bunch of followers and everything, and how we think that like that is the end all be all for social media. But what I think a lot of young people don't understand is that there's nothing wrong with just having your little group of people on social media and having a private account, because with more exposure comes more danger, and I think because of that overglorification, people really try to, public their accounts, post all this content. And I've also seen an alarming surge of like younger girls who like catch on to these TikTok trends that they were revealing clothing online. And it's like, and I've also heard about like, there's like these deep fake things where you could take someone's face and like put it out in video. And a lot of the times they do with celebrities on like, like porn sites where they make them do like sexual acts and stuff. And like, unfortunately, kids aren't exempt from that. And I feel like it's a really good thing for you to just, keep your content to yourself, keep it on a private social media account. Don't be posting too much. You don't have to share it with too many people either. There's nothing wrong with that.
I also think it's very important, especially if you have a public account, not to post your location or post your business or your name, your school, where you work at, because you never know who's watching.
Well, thank you guys for watching our podcast today. Keeping it real while we heal.
Always.
And now we're going to cite our affirmation.
Okay, I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
I am fearfully and wonderfully made.
There is a plan, purpose, and destiny for my life.
There is a plan, purpose, and destiny for my life.
I am talented and gifted.
I am talented and gifted.
I will use my gifts to support my family.
I will use my gifts to support my family.
Enrich my community.
Enrich my community.
And as a result, I will impact the world.
And as a result, I will impact the world.
Yeah. Thank you for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.